positioning your business to prosper during a global pandemic. Either you're going to pivot or perish. The global pandemic of 2020 showed us that many industries were not prepared for what happened. Every industry on the face of this earth was impacted by COVID-19. Every industry, whether in a good way or a bad way. Every industry felt the power of COVID-19. We saw whole entire companies and organizations disappear. Some of these industries and companies will never recover. So what happened? Why weren't these industries or businesses ready? Why did some survive and others did not? Why were some able to pivot and others not so much? For many business owners, the past few months have been a non-stop juggle, a nightmare, so to speak. From trying to get government relief funds, to keeping their sales numbers up, as well as trying to maintain employees, to even trying to learn new protocols in a world under the cloud of a global pandemic. The need to adapt swiftly is serious to survival. So how do you pivot? First, let's take a look at the word pivot. Pivot means, by definition, to turn or to divert or deflect. It also means to change, lay aside, abandon, or leave for another. So, it is clear to me that many of the businesses and or industries that were able to survive or thrive during this pandemic were those that were able to pivot. Those that were able to shift gears and take their business models in a completely different direction with their products or their services. They looked at what they were currently offering, realized it no longer worked for their customers, and they either abandoned the original idea or implemented something completely new. Let's also look at some of the industries that were able to pivot. Let's look at some of the industries that may have been affected and how they were able to maintain or sustain themselves when the whole entire world was completely shut down. The grocery stores were able to pivot during this global pandemic by offering or expanding their delivery options and partnering with the app Instacart. The restaurants, some of them who were no longer able to have indoor dining, partnered with Grubhub and DoorDash to offer food delivery. The medical industry, the doctor's offices and the medical clinics began offering telehealth or virtual visits for non-life-threatening illnesses because the hospitals were running over with COVID patients. Other industries who once manufactured certain products began mass producing PPE. So I say all of that to say that some businesses were able to shift for the better. Others may have not been so lucky. Think about the businesses who never thought their business would be relevant or even take off. Businesses who were making face masks never really thought there would be a mass market for their products until the pandemic hit. Most of the businesses were marketing and focusing only on the healthcare industry. But when COVID hit, PPE was really scarce, and many of the smaller businesses were unable to keep up with the demand. Everything in our world, in our economy, is about supply and demand. 1 minute is up, the next minute is down. So how do you prepare or position your business to prosper during a global pandemic? One thing you must look at history. If nothing else, history does repeat itself. We experienced a global pandemic in March of 1918, the Spanish flu epidemic, or influenza as many call it, which is still with us today. We just know it as the regular flu. During the 1918 pandemic, many Americans lost their lives. Schools were closed, houses of worship and movie theaters were closed, sporting events and concerts were also canceled. Everyone was wearing some sort of surgical mask or face covering, much like what we're dealing with today. The thing that pains me the most is that if we know that history repeats itself, why did we not see this coming? Or did we? Many of the businesses during that time closed their doors, never to reopen again. But there were many businesses that thrived during those times and saw an opportunity to pivot and grow. Albert Einstein said, "In the midst of a crisis comes great opportunity." But how do you find the opportunity? How do you know what to look for? How do you prepare for an opportunity in the midst of a crisis? How do you position your business to prosper? Remember I said, consider supply and demand. Ask yourself these questions. What are you offering? What is currently needed? Is there an opportunity you did not think about? How can you service those that are being impacted by the crisis? Do you have something of demand? If so, can you scale quickly in order to meet the need of the demand? Look at the systems you currently have in place. What's working? What's not working? Look at the areas where you may need to restructure, reorganize, or eliminate. Look at your current technology. Are you a fit for the future? Have you even upgraded your technology? Can you still operate if the power grid goes down? Are you currently running the latest software systems? Or better yet, do you even have systems in place? What areas do you need to correct quickly? What areas can you do without? What areas need your immediate attention? You see, business innovation reflects the needs of your environment. And innovation comes from finding solutions to that environment's current, most pressing issues. Look at the world around you and what others in your same industry are doing. What about your local community? What can your business do to provide needed products and or services? I have seen where many houses of worship have not upgraded themselves to be a fit for the future, relying solely on what they've done in the past, which frankly no longer works. The old way of doing things will make them soon obsolete. We have moved away from the brick and mortar model. We are now in the virtual space and will be here for a while. So let's look at some different things. Let's look at some action items. Take a look at your business model and what you actually offer to your clients or customers. Revisit your why. Most likely, your customers' needs have changed significantly. Those changes are more than likely reflected in their spending habits. Financial instability has led to an increase in spending for essential items and less spending on discretionary items. Depending on your industry, you may have already noticed a substantial drop or rise in demand for your products or services. See, many of these questions you must ask yourself in order to position your business to prosper. For instance, in our current situation, you need to really look at your business model and what you actually offer to your clients and customers. You need to revisit your why. You need to know if your target market has changed. In order to do this, you need to take a deep dive into why your business is in existence. Take a deep dive into your company's sales and marketing analytics. You need to look at if your website patterns have changed. You need to know whether or not a different type of customer is reaching out to you. Remember, supply and demand. You also need to look at your social media analytics. Have you had a new flood of followers? Who is currently sharing your information and information about your business? What demographics do your new followers fall into? Also, look at your email campaign analytics. Who's opening your emails and clicking through information, looking for information? You have to truly identify the true pain points of what your clients or customers need. Then you can actually provide an accurate solution. In your business, what can you do differently that will bring about a better solution to your customers or your clients' current situation? For instance, if you are a makeup artist, are you offering your clients and customers who purchase your products or your services how-to videos on how to apply your makeup or products at home? If you are a hairstylist, are you offering mobile hairstyling services or simple hair tutorials? Event planners, are you offering virtual experiences for your clients or customers who want to still celebrate major occasions and milestones in their lives? DJs, are you offering pre-recorded virtual experiences for your clients or customers? Do you see where I'm going with this? Our world has changed, and while this global pandemic has shaken us, it has also provided for various opportunities for us to shift and grow if we would just take a few seconds and think outside the box. After the global pandemic of 1918 came the Roaring '20s. The Roaring '20s represented a time of wondrous prosperity. The stock market was up, real estate was up, jobs were plentiful, and everyone was prospering. The Roaring '20s gave birth to the Jazz Age and the Great Migration of African Americans moving from the southern countryside to the north, where they saw plenty of opportunity to start businesses and prosper. The Harlem Renaissance was growing during this time as well. The automobile was birthed during the Roaring '20s, specifically the Ford Model T. To meet the need of so many Americans who had purchased cars, Garrett Morgan, a black man, saw an opportunity and invented the first electric automatic 3-light traffic signal, something we still currently use today. So as I stated earlier, there is nothing new under the sun. We are about to enter another modern day roaring 20s era. Pay very close attention. From 2020 to 2029, you really need to figure out how to position your business to be a part of this global opportunity of prosperity. This global pandemic will be with us for a bit longer, but it does not mean your business has to suffer because of it. Opportunity is out here if you are willing to do the work and position yourself the best way possible. If you are willing to think outside the box. Revisit your business model. Revisit your why. Why did you go into business? What do you currently have to offer? If you are not currently in business, think about the type of business you want to start. Think about the current landscape of our world. How can you contribute? Is there a demand for what you want to offer? If not, how can you position yourself to be the answer to someone's problem? What opportunities exist right now that you can be a part of? You do not have to reinvent the wheel, but think about how you can be the service to your clients or customers. The main rule of thumb is, how are you helping someone overcome their problem? Do not go into it thinking mainly about the money. Granted, you do want a business that will be prosperous, but you also want to make sure that you are solving a problem. How are you helping? How are you meeting the needs of your tribe, community, client, or customer? Trust and believe the money will come if you focus on giving the best possible service and solutions. Look around at what's going on in our world. Look at where our world is currently going. We are moving into the tech age, or better yet, we are already in the tech age. Do you have a skill set or a product that you can offer the tech industry? Do you know a better way to bring about a virtual experience? Look at the medical industry. Can you offer medical products or services to this community? Do you know the best way to vaccinate a community? Look at the educational industry, the school system. Can you offer a better way to educate our children? Look at the food industry, the transportation industry, the shipping industry, the airline industry, the events planning, hospitality industry. Do you see where I'm going with this? Ask yourself, are you ready to position your business to prosper? Are you ready to update your business model and plan your pivot? If you're ready to pivot but don't know what your next steps are, follow me on social media for weekly business tips and advice for pivoting. Book a discovery call and let's chat. Let's talk about your new business plan and your next steps. Download my free guide to help you execute your business dreams. Thank you.